How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. It is a later episode of The Big Thing on Wednesday, but we wanted to make sure that both myself and Steph have sat with both episodes 1 and 2 of the new Star Wars show, The Acolyte. We're going to do a full spoiler discussion on the show. People have been talking about the episodes. I did a review of episodes 1 through 4, non-spoiler. I did my first two reactions of the actual episodes that are up on the channel now, episodes 1 and 2. So if you're here for any of that stuff and you want to hear the opinions on it and you want to have a conversation about it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I just did a out of the theater reaction for the new, it is Ishana Shyamalan's new directed movie, The Watchers. I did that. I did the out of the theater for Bad Boys. I got some reviews coming up pretty soon. I have some other stuff, an Inside Out 2 next week, out of the theater reaction. So there's a lot of different things that I'm doing on this channel. And then we're going to be doing spoiler heavy reviews of this show every Wednesday with myself, Steph, and Mike. The goal was to try to get us into the studio this week, but I'm hoping that we can do one more on Wednesday, next week, next Wednesday. The three of us, our kind of final LA in studio show, and then we'll be able to do more shows as the series goes on. So this is episode 1 and 2. We'll do a spoiler discussion on this. So thanks for joining us here today. Let's get to it. It's myself and Steph Sabraw. Here we go. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Once again, it is The Big Thing. It is Sith Council. It is a spoiler heavy review on episodes 1 and 2 of The Acolyte. So if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, thank you. If you're watching us on the YouTubes, awesome. Now, I've been doing all these Star Wars show with at least part of my crew, and I feel like a lot of times it's me. Steph Sabraw. Here she is. Steph, how you doing?
Good. I'm the dream killer today.
Are you?
No, I just thought that
Oh,
line was funny.
Oh, fair enough. It was awesome. I mean, Roxy's coming on the show. We're gonna on Friday and we recorded, but we talked about the um the stand-up show. You guys all you were able to at least I get to see you afterwards, and we get to hang out at the comedy store for a
Everyone
little
said
bit.
it killed. It
It
was
was fun.
so
It was a good
I'm so
it was a good
jealous.
time. It was a good time. But I'm glad that you were there to get a couple drinks and we had a nice time. So and we were leading up to this, man. So here it is. This is how I've been breaking down the arrival of this show in general. It was announced, I think, in like 2020. And when you and I heard about it, we were like, oh, they're going to finally do something about the Sith. This is like whether they're going to do something in the old Republic, whatever, the kind of the building between Plagueis and Palpatine and watching that build up between the Battle of the Sith. And then you kind of heard some more stuff about it, and then it was like maybe it's not going down that route. And then the trailers came out, and I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you've been stronger on the trailers than myself and Mike have been. Um,
Yeah.
but the trailers themselves have been just to me okay. And then the series hits, episode 1 and 2, they hit, and I'm so curious. I'm gonna start. People know my opinion thus far, and I know maybe you don't yet, but what'd you think?
I liked it. I liked the first 2 episodes. I thought both of them had strengths that I was looking for, and then there's also some parts that I'm a little bit concerned about or just curious what direction they're gonna go in. I do not like that one of the biggest exciting parts about this show was Carrie Ann Moss for me,
Oh,
and,
I was so mad. I
like,
was so mad.
what?
Yeah, I
She
was
has
so
to
mad.
come back in a flashback. I have to think that she at least is gonna get a full episode flashback. If not, I just feel like we wasted a get out of jail free card by having Carrie Ann Moss in the Star Wars
Yeah.
franchise galaxy.
Drew Barrymore screamed her, but the difference is they didn't promote with Drew Barrymore and Scream, really. They kind of did, but not really. And this promoted her like she was going to be like this big role in it. Now, again, I've seen episodes 1 through 4, so just to let everybody know, and I'm only going to be spoiling episodes 1 through 2. But it did when I was watching. I was like, no, you can't kill. Oh, what do you? Oh, we're killing Trinity. We're showing, and it also didn't make a lot of sense to where here is May showing up to kill Carrie Ann Moss, and then she goes, "I'm coming to kill you," and then she runs away, and then she goes back, and then she runs away, and then it's like she kills her with a knife, even though the master says, "Don't use weapons." All right, well, I'm not going to listen to you anyway. I'm going to use weapons, and then the motivation behind it and what's going on. I was like, okay, it the murder mystery side of it. I'm going to go over the things that because I feel so far after at least episodes 1 and 2, the show is subpar at best, subpar. And I think and what people said when I was talking about it, I was like a few people, I can't believe you said the writing was good in this. If you're comparing the writing to this to Obi-Wan, if you're comparing the writing to this to Ahsoka and Boba Fett, it's I mean, it's Oppenheimer compared to that stuff. I mean, so and that is saying, I think it's excellent writing? No, but I think that it is solid enough to where I care about this. I'm intrigued by the story to say, okay. I mean, again, I'm not going to spoil anything, so I'm making sure I'm very careful on this, but it's not supposed to be a big reveal that she's a twin. We know that pretty quick. With the second you see her in as a mechanic and she's working, you're going, oh well, you can just tell from the way she's covering herself. Oh, okay, so it was either a twin or a clone or something. You kind of knew that right away, right?
Right. Yeah, I knew that. I was, like, hoping that there could have been something a little bit more to it for a second. I'm not mad at the choice, but for a second, I was like, "Is she, like, an insane"
Right. Did she lose her mind and she doesn't know that she's doing it?
yeah, that I thought of that, or, like, yeah, she's just really good at tracing her steps and, like, knowing how to cover her what she's doing. But, yeah, it was pretty clear that they're twins. I just,
Right.
and by the end of it, I wasn't mad at it, but I am a little bit confused about, which I guess that's what they want, what their what, what's her the good
Motivation.
yeah, her feelings
Osha. Osha.
about
Yeah. Osha.
yeah, Osha.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I think so. Throwing the positive in there, I think that what Amandala Stenberg does with both Osha and May is really well done. My favorite character is hands down Master Soul. He's very
Yeah.
similar to he's got like a Qui-Gon essence to him. I think that there's some bad acting in it too. There's some really bad acting. The two best actors so far are three: Mandela Stenberg, Daphne Keene, and then Lei Zhangje. Is that right?
Yeah.
Uh, Okay.
And
So those are the three best. The two worst are the green alien that's in the High Republic movies, the master. She's so stoic. And then Yord. Get Yord out of there.
Oh, Yord, okay. So I this is the I'm loving hearing your thoughts. They're really I hear a lot of them. Like, I do think
Yeah,
that for me, it's taking a little while. It's an ensemble cast, right? So that was part of the exciting part of it, but the
sure.
burden you carry with an ensemble cast is making me interested and invested in every single character. Like in I feel like the person who comes to mind who can just do this so well is James Gunn with Suicide Squad or Guardians of the Galaxy or like
Yes, and
so
so
quickly like I ride for all these characters. I do think a
mhm.
lot of the Jedis, and maybe it's purposeful, have a similar demeanor, like the
They
carry
do. They're
yeah.
kind of fools again too. They're kind of fools again.
Yeah, they're, like,
And it's
stoic and quiet and
yeah,
calm and just, like, really apprehensive, and I agree, Master Soul for me is just, like, steals the scene, but I'm liking Amandala, but I knew I liked them as an actor for a long time now, so I'm not surprised. It's just more like getting the story going, I think, for me.
yeah, and that's what I said at the end of both 1 and 2 was, "Look, do I turn this show off?" Like, there are a lot of people that do feel this way. They think that it's just terrible. They think it's horrible. And there were some that were predictable that were gonna say that, and then there's other people who are just in the middle going, "I just didn't work for me. I don't care about this show whatsoever. I'm out." And that's fine. And as I said a few times this week, I'm listening to the people in the middle, right? Who are because it was about as predictable as I thought it would be. There were people after my review that I came in. I clearly said up front, I did not like episodes 1 and 2. Didn't like it. And I still, of course you did, you paid shill. And I'm like, huh? And then I got something right afterwards that said, "Oh, you just don't like anything anymore." And it's like, so that was predictable. I saw that coming. I
Right,
saw
can't
that coming
win.
from saw it coming from everyone who wants to love everything, and I saw it coming from everybody who wants to hate everything. But then I was really paying attention to those who were like, "Look, I went into this thing going, I don't know what to expect, and it just I didn't like it. I didn't care. I don't want to watch it anymore." And then there were other people that were like me who were like, "Okay, I think that a lot of these characters made some stupid choices, but I'm intrigued enough into the story that I want to see where it goes." And I think that that's where the interesting. There's some really predictable stuff, like the twin stuff was predictable. Now, I think there's only two choices of who is going to be this Sith, and it's either going to be, the Asian guy who is helping her out with the in
Oh,
that in
a
the
Manny Jacinto yeah,
it's
Quimmer?
yeah, yeah, it's either
Kimar?
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either him or it's gonna be someone else who I think, but I don't wanna I'll save that for later. But I think there's only 2 choices, and I hope it's neither. I hope it's neither because it'd be so predictable if it's either one of them. So there's predictable things where you can start to guess it already. I have no idea why, and then it looks like, and Steph, I'm not this guy. But it was like, okay, I'm looking around and every single character, it's like, when I walk into it and you see the balding Jedi who takes his own life, the poison, is the white guy. He's like "Oh, I'm sorry about everything we did." What did he do? We don't, I mean, and I've seen 4 episodes. I don't know what he did. And everybody else is like kind of like, "No, let's ride this through." And he's like, he's just kind of a mess, that guy. And I don't know. There's no strong. I feel like, to me, there's no real balance in this show as far as, and I've talked about this many times over. And if I get shit for it, I really don't care anymore. Um, that I think that there's times, and in this casting, I think that there's perfect casting. I think Amandala Stenberg is perfect casting. I think Saul, perfect casting. I think Daphne Keene, perfect casting. And then I do think there's some forced casting. I do. I'll be completely honest with you. I think there's some forced casting. I think that there's some where it's like where Leslie Hedlund made a very specific show that she wanted to make. And I was having a conversation again with a few friends of ours, and I said, I think that's totally fine. You and people are like, oh, she just wanted to make the Star Wars she wanted to make. She can do that. But you can't say, why does not the entire fan base love this? Because you're aiming it toward, and I hate when people, this is not for Star Wars fans. It is for Star Wars fans. It is for a particular, they're aiming for a particular Star Wars fan. They're not aiming for the entire fan base, though. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that.
Yeah, I think that that has been more of Star Wars's newest quest is these Star Wars stories under the vision of a person, and it kind of takes it in what they want of that direction, and
Right.
I think that there's good things about that, and I think that there are fair criticisms about that too. It is interesting to see what is working for me as a Star Wars fan with all of these different creators who I do like their stuff outside of Star Wars, and then seeing what they decide for Star Wars. And, for me, it's not as much as the casting right now as the story, but I do like the twin thing. I do like this
Yeah.
mystery, but I just,
The mystery. I like the mystery
yeah.
too.
I kind of wish it was unfolding a little bit different. Like, I want to know Carrie Ann Moss's character, like Inadara or what, like ever her name
Sure.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
get to see her for 3 minutes, and then same with the white guy who was cool as fuck. Sorry, that he was like
Yeah.
impenetrable. It's so
Yeah.
sick, but
It's
like,
just
who
it
are
that's part of
you?
it. Yeah, and like, and so again, there's only so much I can say, but I mean, there is, but the development of it, and I'm just talking about 1 and 2 because when I said in my review for not the non-spoiler part of it for 3 and 4, is that I did feel a little bit more satisfied as 3 and 4 went on because the questions that I had about certain story points were answered. But I also think there's other things that it answers where, and when I say that about you as you say, there are, and I think this goes to a to a Ryan Johnson side of things too. They let Ryan Johnson, and this is, there's people who swear by Last Jedi. You and I are not two of those people, but there are people who swear by Last Jedi, and it made $1 billion, whatever it made, and so they go, okay, it made money. We let Ryan Johnson make his Star Wars. They, I think that there is, and I think they made certain, they let certain people make their own versions of Star Wars with, and it's not like so outside the realm to where like there's no themes inside of it. Like you can't say, well, this doesn't feel like Star Wars at all. It does. There's, I think that Coruscant looks beautiful. The idea of the High Republic and what's going on there, the idea of the of what Soul has with the connection with the twins, with in general, with like having to be able to bring um Osha back and to being, and telling Yard or Yord, whatever his name is, to cut it out and listen, and those moments that are there, those Star Wars moments that we've seen before, and maybe the familiar, but they are part of Star Wars. We've seen that before, but there's other things that it's like, look, this is the Star Wars world that Leslie Hedlund wants to create, and it's through her eyes, through her vision, and they have to understand that you're not going to get everybody on board with this. And what I always said was, I just think that in a business side of it, if it's 50 million, if it's a $40 million show, it's $50 million show, you do whatever the hell you want to do. You make the show you want to in. Who cares what anybody says? Make what you want to do. You do your show. You're making $170 million show. If you're Bob Iger, you're going, everybody needs to love this show. If I'm spending
Right.
$170 million on it, everyone needs to love it. So make sure that everyone feels included in it, because I'm not telling, and I'm want to make it very clear that I'm not saying that the people who have voices in this show shouldn't. Of course they should. I'm telling, I always approach this, and you know me too. I always approach it on the business side of things. And I'm just thinking, if when, because the story that came out the other day was that this show cost $170 million.
Right.
Last time you saw everybody on the same page with a Star Wars thing, I think, and please, Steph, correct me if I'm wrong, was Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. Everybody seemed to be on the same page. So whatever money they spent on that particular show, it worked to kind of unify the fan base inside of it. And had, I mean, look, you had Ming Na Wen, you had the late great Carl Weathers, you had Pedro Pascal. I mean, you had some incredible actors and stuff, and stuck to me, it was going after everybody. So I think you make a $40 million Star Wars show, then you should do exactly what you want to do. But that's if I'm running it. I'm not running it. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is going to be the highest rated show of all time.
But are you seeing any progression up in 4 that makes you excited about 5, or did you end kind of in the same way as 2?
I'm still what I, and this is the other thing I told you, I had people yelling at me in the comments and saying that I was, of course you like it. I said no. After I watched episode 4, I'm watching the show and saying, I want to see where this story goes. I'm interested in this story, regardless of everything that I just said. I'm interested in the story. I'm invested enough in the characters that I can say, where is this going to go? I'm hoping there's something that happens in 4 that I'm like, there's something that I think is so predictable that I hope that I'm wrong. That if I'm wrong, I'm going to wind up liking the show a lot more. If I'm right, I'm going to wind up liking it a lot less. Um,
Damn.
but but they're setting things up that I'm like, all right. There, I mean, look, there are certain things. People talked about episode 3, and I wind up enjoying 3 because I thought it explained questions that I was wondering about. I thought they did certain things that I was like, okay, that makes more sense than it did before. But they also do things in 3 that I already saw, for people who saw it, you're gonna piss off the fan base beyond belief in the essence of what the force is and all that stuff. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff that I mean, where I'm like, okay, this, it's kind of like, well, like kind of what Last Jedi did, except the difference is that with Last Jedi, people are spending money to get the ticket. They don't like it. Tough shit. You bought a ticket. You don't like it after episode 2, they turn it off, your ratings go down. So,
Right.
but yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
Damn, I'm
I am interested.
curious.
Yeah, I'm interested enough in the characters. I'm interested enough to see where it goes. I'm interested enough to say, you know, what do you got episode 5? Because what I won't do, no matter what, I could wind up telling you at the end of this show, look, they made moves that I didn't see coming, and it negated everything that I said to you on that episode of that spoiler on 1 and 2. But I'm just saying, for what I've seen for 1 through 4, it just seems like there's a very specific tone that they want for this particular show.
What'd you think about how it looked?
Wonderful. I think
Yeah.
that's where the money went. The money went in, and the money went into the majority. Like, there's very good actors, there's very good performances. And I will say, I think Leslie Hedlund did a very good job directing the first episode. I think there's that fight scene with Carrie Ann Moss and Amandala was fantastic in the beginning. I think that there was Coruscant looked beautiful. I think there's a lot of times, and this is a positive, not a negative. There are sometimes I'm like, wait, is that the volume? No, that's not the volume. That's a real location. I love the use of real locations. The a a criticism and a like, I guess, a positive and a negative, I should say. Positive is the music. The music's really good, really really good, solid. I'm like, oh, that sounds like Star Wars music. The negative, this is the music. the they still, Steph, Kevin Kiner is the only one that has figured out you can still use John Williams themes and still use your own theme
Mm,
and put snippets in it. Where in the world you got thousands of Jedi walking around? Where is the GD Force theme? How do you not have the Force theme? Why do they want to distance themselves so far away from the John Williams stuff? It's like having a James Bond movie without having the James Bond theme in it. It's like, use the Star Wars familiar music. Have you not for every damn track and every damn scene, but make it go, oh, there it is. I feel it. And a couple times they tease it, but use it. And they
right.
don't do it. They didn't do it in Obi-Wan. They didn't do it in all these different shows. I don't understand why they don't do it. They're like scared of it for some reason. I don't get it.
They had the crawl, which was nice.
It wasn't the crawl. It wasn't a crawl. It was just the opening
Well,
blue thing.
I
They didn't even
know,
use
but
the
I feel
crawl.
like it was a good step in the crawl direction.
They used the crawl for Ahsoka,
Yeah, yeah, and
but
then
they
they
didn't use
didn't.
it for this. It's like there's no
Interest
consistency. There's no
Yeah.
consistency.
At
And
first I
it's
thought I
this
was like, "Is it moving?" No.
Yeah, it's the same. Look, and this is what I said. What I do like, again, another positive is the um they'll get a little dark with it. It's not goofy. They're not trying, even like the humor that they have. To me, one of my biggest pet peeves in whether it's superhero movies or Star Wars movies is when the jokes are just in there to be jokes, and it's like, oh, now's your time. Hey, but bum, like that type of shit. Like, that drives me nuts. But when it's like, okay, this is a character that is saying a particular thing because that's in their personality and happens to be a funny moment, that works for me. And there's a few moments like I never feel there's no to me there's no forced humor. I think Yard or Yord, and I don't know if it's the actor or if it's the character. Gotta go. If the Sith chops his head off, not gonna care.
He does give very much narc behavior. But
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
them are kind of the same, like I said, so I'm curious. I love Daphne Keene. I wanna see her character develop a little bit
yeah.
more
She's cool.
because
She's
she
great.
has cool promise, but again, like Master Soul and Yord, like, they're very quiet and to the book, and
Yeah.
so
And I think, well, that's the thing, right? The Jedi are they had an opportunity. I think you said in the beginning, the Jedi are kind of like soulless. They're just
yeah.
kind of like very bland. And it's I like their outfits, but
Yeah,
there's nothing to them. Minus, Soul is and Daphne Keene. Those are the two that really they stand out. They're the stars. They should, but everybody else is just the same kind of generic Jedi that we've seen in it could have been in episode one. The same type of there's nothing to it. And let me ask you this, because it takes place 100 years before, minus the fact that you don't really have to be caught up in, if you're a casual fan, you can just tune into it. Um, do you think that it really matters that it's 100 years before? Because we thought it was going to be the infiltration of the Sith, and it very well could be that down the line. but it seems more so about this story of these two sisters more than it seems like anything about, the inside politics of the Sith kind of making their
Yeah,
claim.
I know, I don't think we're getting that, which is a bummer because I feel like there's a way to do both, and maybe they
Yeah.
are going to because there is a big bad that we haven't met yet, and
Mhm.
maybe they're more intertwined into the story than we think, but I don't know. I feel like they're really focusing on the sister thing but I there is still in my mind, it's not so I'm curious what your thoughts are, but I don't know exactly where I think they're going with it.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot to talk about with the episode still. Not gonna stop the show just yet because we have a lot to talk about. So before we do, let me tell you real quick about two of our pals. We got both Tushy and Mac Weldon. I'll tell you about both of them right now. So I love Mac Weldon. I have been obsessed with them. And I'm not even going to tell my wife. I'm going to call my wife right now just to show you guys how much I love Mac Weldon. Here you go. Hey, you just call me? I did. So I'm telling the audience about Mac Weldon. I want you to say a few words about what you've noticed so far with me wearing Mac Weldon. They fit your body really well, flattering. The materials that they use are high quality, they're well made, not cheap. See? They're just really flattering to a man's physique, and especially yours. Yeah, well, these are classy. This looks classy. It makes you feel good. It's the fit's good. I feel good when I'm wearing them. I get a confidence boost when I'm wearing them, and it's like it's not flashy. It's just like it's classic, and it feels like it's always in style. Yeah, they are. They're classic pieces. They're like staple pieces. And it's regular. It looks like regular clothes, but they just look better. I mean, like they had that. They gave me some sweatpants. They gave me that polo. Those pants that I really like those pants. I think it's really great for the casual professional. Yes. Who doesn't want to be just, really like ragged jeans and t-shirt, but still kind of casual and comfortable. It's a good for the casual professional. So it's not fancy and it's not overdressed, but it's still, you don't want to look like you rolled out of bed. Yeah, well, there you go. All right, thank you, honey. Bye. She had no idea I was going to do that, and that's what she said. So if you want to get a timeless look with modern comfort from Mac Weldon, you got to go to macweldon.com and get 20% off your first order. We got to use that code BIGTHING. Mac Weldon, MacWeldon.com. Use that promo code BIGTHING. You will thank me. I'm telling you, I love Mac Weldon. I'm going to be shopping at Mac Weldon for a very, 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 very long time. I promise you that. As we get older, I'll tell you. The bidets. Oh, I love the bidets. I wish I got introduced to the bidet a long time ago with Tushy, and it is so what an invention. What an invention. At first you sit down and you want to feel classy. You want to show some class. You show some class by getting the bidet on your. I'm not gonna say it. I could have rhymed, but I didn't. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. So let me tell you a little bit about it, because the next time you're sitting down on the toilet to squeeze out a big baseball bat, I'll tell you what happens. Hello Tushy wants you to remember one thing. The time that you're spending scrolling on your phone, it's not giving you peace of mind. You know what it's giving you? Hemorrhoids. That's right. Men spend twice as long in the bathroom. This is fact. I go into that bathroom sometimes for peace, but I wind up sitting trying to get some business done. And it is the one leading cause of hemorrhoids is prolonged sitting on the toilet. That's right. If you wipe with toilet paper, it's only going to irritate your butthole. That's what it's going to do. The Tushy, it cleans your butt with a targeted stream of fresh water, eliminating the need for painful wiping. So I really, really dig it. And it just feels nice. Again, I feel classy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel classy. That's the whole thing. So Tushy Bidet cleans your butt 2 times better and gentler than wiping with toilet paper. For the rest of your life, you can leave the bathroom sooner feeling confident that your butt's actually clean. The bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet. You know how long it takes? Under 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I was going to say 20. It's not true. It took me about 8 minutes without additional plumbing or electricity needed. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty. So stop wiping until you bleed. Come on. Join the 3 million butts who've already made the switch to Tushy. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off your entire order when you use the code BIGTHING at checkout. That's 10% off your order at HELLOTUSHY.com, HelloTushy.com. Promo code BIGTHING. All right. Thank you once again to our friends over at both Tushy and, of course, Mac Weldon. Steph, I love Mac Weldon. I was telling both Roxy and like I don't know if you noticed on at the Comedy Store. I made sure that my last night I wasn't doing the hat and the baggy shirt. And look at this shot that RB3 took.
Oh,
That
that's
was
so good.
that's a Mac Weldon shirt. I love that
That's
Mac
a
Weldon
great
shirt.
top. I need to get that for Harry.
It's so casual, but yet it's still it looks good and it's not sloppy. I loved it. So I tell
Yeah.
people, and I say on a Friday too. I'm like selfishly want everybody to buy Mac Weldon because I'm like I want them to be around for like the next 3 years because I told Sadie just buy me everything from Mac Weldon.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's continue on because there's more to talk about for sure. And I think as I mentioned, Manny Jacinto is that his name?
Yeah, I think.
What's he from?
He's from The Good Place.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Alonso Duralde was telling me about him and said he plays kind of like a goofy character. I think that I mean, I do think that they're setting him up to either be something where like I said, there are two people that I am convinced that it's either going to be one of the two that's going to be the Sith. And I'm so hoping that Leslie Hedlund goes, you were wrong, a hole. You thought so much you knew. Well, it's nobody you know. It's somebody from the shadows. It's somebody completely, no one. You don't know who this person is. And that's what I'm hoping for. But
Yeah.
we'll see. But
Yeah.
that whole scene, when she's and like, did you remember we talked about this in the trailer? Did you feel like sometimes that they were playing like dress up, or did you always feel like they were actually it was part of the world?
Yeah, there was some like times that's what I was saying that I'm getting used to the characters.
Yeah,
There are parts where it did feel like, "Oh, it's a pilot." I don't know. So I'm hoping that my view gets a little less sharp
okay.
and a
So,
little
yeah,
more
so it seems like you liked, and I'm not gonna speak for you, but from listening to you describe it, it seems like you like the world they're setting up, but you're not completely on board yet. Okay.
Yes, I like a lot of it. It just I'm not like I cannot wait for the next episode. I'm more like I'm interested to see where they take this and I like
Yeah.
enough where it can still be great to me.
I think we're and then you pretty much watched it the way that I did. I when I finished that episode, I said, "Okay, I'm gonna keep watching. I wanna know where this goes." I will say though, here's OSHA finds out, "Oh, there's May. Let me shoot at her with a stun gun or shoot at her, whatever I'm gonna shoot at her with." And my aim is so bad that they're gonna base the stormtrooper off me. Like she
Oh
is
my god, yeah.
what was she shooting at? Does she need glasses? She was shoot I mean, she was right in front of her and she shot like the ceiling. It was
It
awful.
has to be purposeful. It had
Yeah.
to have been like a warning or
Why
emotional,
shoot?
but if
Then
that's
don't
really her
yeah.
aim, absolutely not.
Shoot
Absolutely
the
not.
shoot the car. Shoot the
Anything.
the speeder. Shoot anything. Shoot the pot next to it. Just show like you want to be more intimidating. Shoot something, blow up something right next to it. You're shooting the ceiling for it. It's like that you look like you missed bad. It's like someone when they're playing like in a championship game and they put up a 3 and it's just an air ball.
It
It's
was
like
bad.
bad. That was
Yeah, and
bad.
also yeah, it made it feel like when a kid first picks up, like, their first airsoft or something like that, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
You doing? Yeah, and then I think that one of the things that speaking of Yord, I think where they're gonna go with him is I think they're gonna kinda make him like you don't watch Stranger Things, right? Or you do?
I do,
So, Steve from Stranger Things, I think they're trying to do that, like, where you think he's a dickhead at first and he winds up being, like, a good guy and they're gonna
and then
wind up,
he dies.
maybe. I mean, that's the other thing is that depending on how they go and where we overall go with where this story with the Sith and everything else is going is that you would assume that most people have to crap out. It's like, what's funny is even there was a weird, and I'm glad we can go back to this. There's a weird scene in the beginning of episode 1 where, and I don't know why it's in the show. they're sitting around at that camp and they find out, and it's before they find OSHA. And no, 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 yeah, it's right before they remember that OSHA's on the edge of the cliff and before they find her.
Yeah.
And I think it's Daphne Keene who says, "Well, May's is alive." And then the what's his face? Saul goes, "No, it can't be. She's dead. I saw her. I saw her. She's dead." And then the next scene is OSHA saying, "May's alive." And he goes, "I believe you." Why didn't you believe the other one when she just said that? I think
I
that's true.
know. There was a moment where and there is still I have this thought where there's something more with that with Soul, and I don't know if it's that they, like, had it wrong, which is, like, kind of a story we've seen time and time again with Star Wars,
Yeah,
where they judge their Padawan wrong or saw the dark side in someone or something and then blew up the whole place
right.
basically, metaphorically, but seemingly physically in this story. And then he wanted to they're all ashamed of that past.
Mhm.
And but yeah, though that switchback, I was like, that has to be intentional.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think about as I mean, you've been on the same page with me on this. What do you think about turns? You think we're gonna and I know Mike's definitely the one he does not like when people turn. You think we're gonna see any turns from people, good to bad, bad to good?
I think that there is a very high chance that May will turn because and unfortunately, it comes after a lot of turns, but fortunately, she does have more of a case than most people, in my opinion, because if you did think that your sister, your twin was and maybe I'm biased because 'cause I'm a twin.
Sure, it's
If
fun.
I went my whole life with, like, my appendage missing, and then I
Yeah,
found out that she was there and she was li felt differently about the situation or might not know, I would do anything to get at least try to get time with her.
sure, sure. And I understand that. And I think that again, I want to make sure that there's more events that happen into 3 and 4 that can either add or take away from that argument. So I want to try to stay away from it. But there is it goes back to it's hard when you're telling a story inside of a genre and IP that's done so many different stories to not stay with the cliches or stay with the things that have been done 1,000 times. And I do think sometimes that because it's a Star Wars thing, they do it even more, right? Like there's always got to be a face turn. There always has to be a heel turn. There always has to be this thing. And I feel like that might be a Filoni thing. I don't know. I don't know. But I wonder where they're gonna go with it, but I do think that there might be it feels maybe though that the Manny character is pulling could potentially be pulling a Kaiser Soze, maybe.
Mm.
Um, and even in the way that he's delivering his lines in that, the when because it's if you notice, it's interesting when he walks up to OSHA and he's like his demeanor changes a bit.
Yeah.
And he says, "You do look just like her." And he doesn't say it in the kind of foppish, goofy way that he's been talking. He says it in a more sinister way. So that was kind of one of me going, "Hey, wait a minute there."
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely something more complex to his character that I started to really dig by the end of the episode. And now it being one of my most curious points where I do want to see him interact with more people because it does seem
Yeah.
like everybody he interacts with, he has a little different of a vibe.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. But I think that if you kind of go through the characters themselves and you start with, again, these first 2 episodes, um, I think that I think what Amandala Stenberg has done has separated May and OSHA very well. I know the difference, not just because one's wearing a purple robe. I when they show up, it's interesting. Like I'm not going, oh wait, well, which one's that? I can tell, and I can tell from the way that Amandala is presenting the characters with their eyes. I can see it. So I think that you I should probably ask you this so I don't give anything away, but where do you see May right now besides what you just said about the potential of her, changing, but like her motivations, do you feel like she's clear, or you think you need I think you've already said you wanna see more, but how do you feel about overall with her?
No, definitely unclear because what exactly happened where you left your Jedi training. I feel like there's way more to that story, and I just want to know more about her interactions with Soul or maybe Indara if she got to interact with her. But I know that Soul was actually training her, so that I feel like we have to go back and explore, and then her own ideology on the Jedi, and if it lines up anywhere with her sister, then we have something there.
Right, and I think what they did is the way they set up with, uh, Osha, and the fact that we need to find out a little bit more of why she ran away, what happened there, why was she out of the Jedi, or why was she it was almost like an Ahsoka thing, it seems like, right?
Yeah,
So, but why? Or we gotta
why?
find that. Yeah, we gotta find out why Yard's such a dill hole. We gotta
Yeah,
find out why,
like, did they
and
have
I
a thing?
maybe, right? Like, I keep and I watched it's and I think that there's parts of this show that I think are written well. I do, and you can dispute that all day long, guys. But then there's other times where I agree with the people who are going, the writing's not so great because I had forgotten. He mentions up top, I think that they kind of went through the academy together or whatever it was, but I had forgotten it. And by the time I get to the last episode that I saw, and he's talking, and I'm going, why is he such a how does he not even know her? And then I'm like, oh wait, they did the academy together. But like he's so one note that it's just like, yeah, he's just a kind of anal uh Jedi who does everything by the book, and yet he still questions like he'll question what Soul's doing and he wants to do it. But he's look, he's a warrior though. He's not like a wuss. You know, he's a warrior. He gets right into it and he's ready to scrap. And so you respect that. But the only ones I feel are the most layered right now are Soul and then the twins. Nobody, even Daphne Keene, who's great. I don't feel like there's any layers to her
Right,
character.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So
Out
I
of
don't
the
know, man.
Jedi, yeah.
Out of the, I mean, I think out of everybody. Who else? Who else is?
Uh,
Who else?
Quimir or Manny's character, I think that there's layers.
He's interesting, right? I mean, he's interesting because you think that there's more to it, but like,
Yeah,
he's just right now. He's just a guy in a shop that took over for another guy in a shop that happens to be working with one of the twins, and there's interesting, and like, wait a minute, who's that guy? Sure, but it's there. I just feel in certain shows like this, you want to be like, if you want to come out swinging, like, and especially that's what I say when it comes to Marvel and it comes to Star Wars, you want to come out swinging in a show where right now, when you're going to have people complaining no matter what, you want to go, we're just going to take this. This is the best thing that we've done in a long time. How do you feel about that? And they very well may feel that way. I don't feel like that's the way it's coming across because I don't think some of the, like, I had posted yesterday after Acolyte came out, and I said, how excited is everybody for House of the Dragon season 2? People are losing their minds over that show. And now my example for that was because of what I just said, where Marvel and Star Wars right now, I feel like you would agree, are like kind of like on shaky ground with the fan base, right? It's like half of it loves it, everything they do doesn't matter. Give me, give me, give me. Another side of it is like, we hate everything about this. Star Wars is dead. And then there's people like, we just want to like it again. Show it to us. That's where Star Wars is. Marvel is similar, not as I don't think it's as Civil War, but I think it is definitely it's similar. When you have Marvel, who right now is like this, and they're hoping Deadpool is going to be a boost, and then they're going to try to reconnect with the audience and just keep it here. So you look at House of the Dragon. Game of Thrones, the last season was about as divisive as you can get. It was the last Jedi of the Game of Thrones, right? People were losing their minds off that season. So people were like, I'm done with anything Game of Thrones, ain't watching it. House of the Dragon comes out, all is forgiven. People love the show. People are losing their minds over that. And the development, when they came back, as I mentioned, they came back swinging. They came back with rich characters. They came back with strong lore. They came back with just, emotion. They came back with everything. And that was, even if you and I both said after the first episode, 2 episodes of the show, we're going, okay, we want to see more. You know as well as I do, we both wanted to be like, "Did you see that?" And we didn't do that.
Right. I know. And every time it doesn't happen, but especially with this one, because I just really, it's like every time I kind of root harder and harder for hoping that I'll love it and be like, oh my God, I'm just like such a fan.
Yeah.
And I do like, I'm becoming more of a casual viewer, which makes me sad. And then it also always brings me into this like existential thought process where I'm like, is it just not for
For
me
you and
anymore?
the same. Yeah. I feel the same.
And it's honestly kind of scary because you're like, it's a part of you and your childhood and like your imagination and your creativity. And
Yeah.
I just know how much hard work it takes to put something on screen. The mixture of everything makes me want to just love it. And I do, and I like a lot of it. It just is,
Right.
I'm having a
You
problem
still
with
love
that,
it.
like love, like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
telling
that's what I
my
said in the
family, "You have to sit down and watch Fallout."
watch
Like,
it. Like,
you ha
this right. Like, you want, and who doesn't wanna do that? Like, I mean, this was the freaking story we thought we were getting with the Sith and everything too. I was so pumped for that. I said it a couple times. It's like my most anticipated show. They're doing 100 years before the prequel. I was like, "This is gonna be my thing. It's gonna be like me when I was playing Knights. So I can't wait for this." That, oh wait, the creator of, and showrunner of Russian Doll is doing this, and she's read up on all the Sith lore. I'm like, "Come on, let's go." And then I'm just like, this is the story we're telling. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it, but I'm not like losing my mind over it. And that's, but I don't understand in the same way that like I don't. I've said things in here that I'm sure I'm going to get people going. Oh, really? That's what you think about this? So you don't want, you wouldn't want to see this person in that role, and then I'm going to get the other people going. You said it was good. Are you out of your mind? Oh, maybe you're not going to go to the premieres now, buddy. And I don't go to the premieres anymore. It's too far away from my house. So it's like that type of stuff is, again, predictable, but I feel the same way that I did before, that if this is the story that they want to tell, then you should let them tell it, and, like, there shouldn't be tweets about it and talking about how much you hate it and Star Wars is dead and all that. It's like, okay, have if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. I just think I'm more so with you is that the more this stuff happens, the more stuff I watch, I go, "Maybe I should just start watching other stuff with the kind of love and expectations that I used to have for this franchise," right? Like I used to have oh, I can't miss it. How if you said to me again, like you only get one show that you can watch, House of the Dragon or Acolyte, and you can't right now, you're like House of the Dragon. You haven't even seen episode 1 of season 2, and you've seen the first 4 episodes of Acolyte. If I told you can't watch any more Acolyte, but you can watch all House of the Dragon, I'm like, see you later, Acolyte. Like without even flinching. And in the same way, I feel the same way about Dark Matter on Apple. Like to me, the show with Joel Edgerton and Jennifer Connelly right now, I'm more locked into that show. Like that show, the new episode comes out tonight. And again, if you told me Acolyte was coming out, the new and I'm saying this as someone who's interested in seeing where it goes, and you're like, you can only watch Dark Matter season 1 of a show you never heard of, you know, 5 weeks ago, or Acolyte. See you later, Acolyte. I think that it's just a well crafted, it's just better. I think it's better television than what they're doing in general. Lucasfilm. It's the same problem that I've had with Lucasfilm. The creative is just all over the place.
I know, but I don't know if this overarching feeling of how I'm feeling about a lot of Disney projects too.
Mhm.
In general, like, I just feel like I don't know exactly how to explain the difference of when I see Percy Jackson as
Oh,
opposed
right.
to Harry Potter that it was made like 20 years ago now.
Mhm. Mhm.
I still like Harry Potter better, and it might be a nostalgia thing. I just think that I don't know, some of the way that they're capturing, I say that to say that it's not just like I'm too old for kids stuff. I
I know what you
still like
know.
this like magical world that we're creating and have created. It just something about the way that they're being made is not hitting me the way that I want them to.
Look at and you still haven't watched One Piece, have you?
I did watch One Piece
You love One Piece?
on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I liked it. Yeah.
Live action?
Yeah, I really liked it.
I loved it, and that show is nowhere near made for me, and I loved that show, and it goes into the points that you were just making. The way that it was made, the story that was told, the truth it took to the lore and the actual material itself from everything I knew from One Piece fans and the things and you talk about where and I've talked about this many times over. When I started doing reactions to that series, I thought the fan base was going because I'm so used to how horrible Marvel, DC, and Star Wars fans are that I'm like, all right, and Game of Thrones fans are. I'm going, okay, here we go. I'm gonna say the wrong thing about somebody, and I'm gonna say somebody's hat should have been to the left when it should have been to the right, and someone's gonna come get me. Most welcoming fan base I have
Yeah.
ever they were loving and saying, "Oh, just wait until you see this. Actually, his name is so and so, and they did this." And it was like I have never had more fun reacting to a show or talking about a show than that show because it was like, yeah, okay, maybe you didn't get that, but how about this? And no, you didn't understand that, but that. And it was exactly what you just said. It was made with this type of love and this passion and the understanding for it. Not to say that this, like, I do think very much so. I think Leslie Hedlund is a fan. I think
Yeah.
Hedlund is making exactly what she wanted to make, and I think it is a well-made show. I think it is I think she did a great job directing it. I just don't think, like I said earlier, there is, and people will dispute me on this. I think that just to reiterate it, when you're making $170 million thing, you've got to aim towards everybody if you want to if you want to be successful. You really do, and they might be in that room going, "We don't wanna aim towards everybody. We wanna do this, and F those people who don't like it because this is what we're gonna do." Fair point of view, but again, you spent $170 million on it, you have to understand that if Bob Iger goes, "Hey, our streaming numbers are about, are 25% less than what we thought they were gonna be from episodes 4 on. What's going on?" You might have your answer, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved One Piece. I did. I was trying to remember how I really felt about that because I was confusing my excitement about that and Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Oh,
but
yeah, okay, okay.
I did really like One Piece, especially, like, hearing the way that they honored the animated version and the things that they made different, I just thought were really cool choices, but yeah, I think that I'm very hopeful still that I'll like the rest of the season because it's like it is so much pressure
Yeah,
for all of these people involved, and I know that that's what the business is. You just have to be okay with it, but just
yeah,
for the love of Star Wars and for Star Wars fans, I hope that it is a
yeah.
good show.
But I think but Steph, I think that that point of it, to be completely honest, almost at this point between us, talking about this is irrelevant because I think that the story that they're telling, if they deliver on it, could very well wind up being a good show. I think it's a decent show right
Yeah,
now, with the story that they're telling. Like you and I both said, it's like, where's just we wanna know where it's going. Does it
you're
deliver?
right.
If it does, I think that's gonna be I just think for Star Wars and what people and because there's this side that I kind of just kind of mentioned it where you say, "Hey, we just want the whole fan base to be on board again and say, yeah, this is the thing that we've loved all years." And then there's people who are going to go, "Well, there's no world where the people over there who hate everything are going to like it again because they just want to hate everything and they're never going to like it. So who gives a shit what they say?" And part of that is true, part of it. But then there's another part of it of going, well, yeah, but there's some people that just want to watch certain things and the things they loved about Star Wars that isn't being told anymore. And to tell them F you, not the right way to go. And then the opposite side of that is those people are going, yeah, we hate Disney so much and we hate everything that you're doing that, yeah, you love everything. stick it up your ass for loving everything. Yeah, you freaking chill, blah 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 blah. And those and you're just yelling at people for liking stuff, and that's just like, hey, you got a puppy in your hand, I'm gonna kick you in the ball bag, and it's like, who who cares if somebody like because the argument would be like, well, we've got to make a stance on it. You think both? What are you making stances for? Either say you don't, and that's the other thing. You can't say you like something. You can't say you dislike it. It's so stupid. It's like politics. It's so stupid. How this whole thing goes, but there is relevant arguments, and you can say straight up, you can say, I don't like this show, and I'm sure if people will have claims against me today for saying the things that I said about the show itself. And for me, it's like, no, I just think that there, if you're looking at it, a business side of things, there you just have to be relevant. And you make the same show you want to make, but you have to understand, what business wise what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I agree completely, but it's interesting you bring up House of the Dragon too, which is although the main story focuses on the very white characters,
Yeah, yeah,
there it is a very diverse cast.
yeah. It is
So it just
very much
is,
so.
yeah, I just think that it really comes down to the story and how you're telling that story and pulling with our emotions, like, it's so
Right.
also subjective because for me, I think it would have hit harder to get to know the characters who died, just at least an episode, and then I would have been like, "Oh, the show's so
Yeah,
savage," but it started in the beginning, so I was like, "Oh, okay, like,
that's a
this
good
is
point.
just" yeah.
That's a good point. It's like, in the way that well, I'll just say this for Game of Thrones. There's characters that you got attached to in season 1 that you're like, there's no way they're gonna get rid of them. And then they do, and you're like,
Yeah,
holy crap. So and the only reason you feel like that with Carrie Ann Moss is because it's Carrie Ann Moss.
right. No,
And
totally.
right.
And you're like,
Because
"This
when I
is
yeah,
Carrie Ann Moss."
yeah. And
You're
you're pissed
bringing
off that
her
she's
up.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're pissed off that she's gone because you're like, oh, I got to see her do one Trinity fight and I don't get to see enough about her. And that's who she killed. That kind of sucks. And that she was duped real quick because it wasn't even like, and that's the other thing. It kind of took away from how powerful she was because so far, it like May is good, but May doesn't see May to me isn't someone that's like, oh, look out for May. She's devastating. She's like, no, she's a good fighter. She can get some stuff, but how did she best Carrie Ann Moss? Because she distracted her from killing somebody? I'm like, I don't know.
right, right. And the
It
whole
just takes
time
away.
she was, like, I feel like Carrie Ann Moss's character in Dara was so much stronger, and then I get the point of it is that and they did this in Obi-Wan too, where they have the Jedi basically choose between compassion and staying low,
Yeah,
and or defending themselves, and it's the same answer, they're gonna try to save the other person, but I
right.
do think that she was just such a better fighter than her, and Soul is too, that I'm like, "She's a
Yeah,
cool fighter, she's still young though.
too young, and she's
How is she
powerful.
this much of
That's
a
fine.
threat?"
And it's like I don't. That's what I mean. I don't buy it yet. Where it's like you have. It doesn't seem like she's been consumed by the dark side at all. It doesn't even.
Right,
She doesn't even like had any conversations with the master, whoever it is. We don't even. Well, I've had conversations, but doesn't necessarily know who it is. And it's manipulation. We know that she's clearly not a Sith, and she's just like this someone who's doing is an acolyte, whatever. But it's I don't know yet, man. I don't know. And I hope. Look, there's always been shows and movies that maybe have started off slow and then can get you towards the end and go because as I told you in the beginning of this conversation, there's something that I feel like is going to easily happen and it's predictable. And if it turns out that I'm wrong, I'm going to wind up liking the show a lot more because I'm going to go, well, wait a minute. If they're going to go that other direction that I didn't see coming at all, then okay, well then let's go there. But if it's the predictable thing that I feel 95% sure that it's going to happen, then it's going to be like, okay, well then how does that play into the rest of the lore for Star Wars?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Well, that's it, man. That's our conversation here today
I can't
on
wait to hear Mike's thoughts.
I'm so curious to what he thinks. I would assume I think he's in the same boat that we are, and this is one of the reasons we don't really do Sith Council as much anymore. Is because I think that all three of us kind of feel like it's we appreciate what they're doing, we appreciate the people who are making it, we appreciate those people who love it, but it's just not we don't have that same kind of passion for it like we used to because the stories have just every time. How excited were you and I for Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And we're like, "Oh, we're right there," and it's like, Boba Fett. "Oh, it's gonna be a gangster story, it's gonna be the Goodfellas of it. Come on. Kay Sackhoff's gonna be the lead of Mandalorian 3, they're gonna do all this stuff." And then it's like Andor. Andor. When Andor comes back, we're probably gonna be, "Hey, let's do it." Because it seems so Andor seems so detached from the rest of it.
No, yeah, it seems completely different. It feels like these are
Yeah.
all made in the same studio and Andor was made separately.
It totally feels that way. So, anyway, maybe not the review you wanted to see. I don't know. Maybe it was. I have no idea. But, Steph, where can they find you? What's going on?
At Steph Sabraw, The World Girls, Wednesday, 6 p.m. PT.
Easy enough. Guys, thank you for joining us. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're everywhere you find podcasts. Make sure you check us out over there. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. We're trying to hit 200,000 by the end of the year. I think we can do it if you hit that button. Make sure you comment. Let's have a conversation in here. Love to get an all let's say I don't want to say positive because you can be negative, I guess. You can have a negative point of view, but let's be nice to one another. Can I challenge you to do that? I guarantee you that none of you listen to me. But why not give it a shot? Thanks for joining us here today. For Steph Sabraw, I'm me, you're you, and we'll see you later.